Yeah, I think as an industry, we have to always be vigilant and we have to be sort of good citizens and good players. I'm not particularly worried though, because I believe in market forces that I think good players will win out. And I think the idea is that brands and advertisers are wanting to capture, more goodwill and more positive intention and ultimately spend from consumers. They're not going to try and necessarily trick them into doing that. So it doesn't really behoove people to sort of trap users, misuse their data, infringe on their privacy, or become bad actors. I do think everybody has to be careful though. This is unprecedented. The technologies, are running ahead of what we've been doing before and what behaviors people are used to. So I think it's something that the industry, consumer groups, policymakers all have to work on together. But I think the good news is that technology can be used for a lot more good, even if there are some people who are going to try and use it for bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think advertising is definitely a piece of the puzzle, but I think, you've seen with app stores that, the way that people are discovering new services actually through apps as opposed to necessarily through search, is a different paradigm and a different dynamic even from the one that we were working on 5 years ago. And I think, this is why Google on mobile, even though they've done an amazing job with Android, are maybe in less of a stable position in mobile, ironically, even with Android, than they have been on the web. And I think, advertising is one way that people are discovering new products and services. One of the big movements in I guess sort of marketing and advertising today is content marketing or native content. We have a company, Outbrain, involved in that sector, and I think more and more people will discover brands through content. Brands are being challenged to make more interesting content rather than just advertising. Because, if you think about the distribution platforms for brands, it used to be broadcast TV, if you're a consumer packaged goods company, and the shelves in a supermarket. Now both of those channels have kind of been weakened, or at least there is so much other noise and information available to people. How do you sort of break through the clutter if you're P&G, if you're Unilever, if you're Nestle? And again, the clock's turned back 70, 80 years, and these guys are funding original programming and making content. And some of that content's actually really useful and it's really interesting because they actually have money to pay for content, which often content owners don't do. So I think, that new marriage between advertisers and publishers, and sort of, Vice has been a leader in this area, sort of understanding the boundary between what is editorial. I think you wrote a piece on this a few months ago, and what is advertising. I mean, that again is a sort of a real topic. So I think that's one of the ways that people are sort of moving beyond ad blockers. Is actually figuring out how do we actually provide value to people. That's probably the right question to be asking.